today we're going to look at, don't forget, throughout this week we've been speaking about work, okay, the W factor of growth. And we've been talking about different subjects that promote actions that you need to take, in ensuring that you continue your growth trajectory and you don't stop improving yourself. You don't, at any point in time, stop your pursuit. So we'll be ending this factor, the conversation on this factor, with looking at something that is very, very important, as a matter of fact, is most essential to business growth. Uh, when I delve into entrepreneurship, I had to realize this pretty much early, and then this has become part of my objectives in doing business. And that has also interpreted into the way I live my life. So we're going to be looking at customer centricity and how this method, how these concepts can enable you to continually deliver value to people in all your relationships, in all dimensions of your life. How customer centricity can enable continuous value delivery. So it's something you will always come to terms with when you are navigating through value streams. Okay. So delivery of value is just you putting customers as your top priority, okay, at the center of everything, your decision making, even defining and refining your values, your benefits that you want people to derive from your activities in any area of your life, to the point that if you are even going to open your mouth to speak, talking about effective communication, okay, you are putting customers first, not yourself. They are not going to be either brand driven, that's talking about your personal image or personal reputation, or your products your products as the priority. It's rather going to be the customers. So we are looking at how we can de-emphasize on our personal brand, on our reputation, on our product, on the projection, the dispositions about. You see, all these things that we'll be talking about, as good as they are, that's not going to be the top priority for you in order for you to be able to achieve success, in order for you to be able to achieve your goals, right? It's good, you're going to give them some level of priority, but it's not going to be top priority, okay? You have it there, you have your good brand, we've talked about it. You will have a proper understanding of your product or the benefit and value you want to deliver, but as good as all these things are, the people part of your project is the most important part. The people part, okay? And these people, we call them customers, we call them end users, okay? We call them key stakeholders. So we need to look at the dynamics around this set of important stakeholders in your journey, which we classify to be people or customers, so that you can now begin to have a customer-centric mindset, a customer-centric orientation towards whatever actions you are going to take in pursuing achievement of your goals or in continuous delivery of value. So what exactly is the essence of thinking in this way? I mean, why do you need to embrace customer centricity? First of all, I see it as a business strategy, because as an entrepreneur, don't forget, it's because we are emphasizing entrepreneurship because we're actually talking about work, okay? What you need to do, either in your personal life or in your professional career or in your business work. So you think about strategies, you think about how you want to navigate the ways by which you want to get your results. So one of the pretty easy strategy, one of the easy way by which you can get this done and have that level of satisfaction is for you to focus on positive customer relationship. So you see, as much as you're going to have it in business, you're going to also have it in your life. How do you want every human being that come across you in life? What kind of experience do you want to live with them? I gave you this indication that you don't want to be like a snake that passed through a rock without having an impact or leaving behind it an indelible mark in the sand of time. You always want to give people, you know, a positive shot. You want to always have that big impact that they will never forget, because you might never stand a chance, just like the way we are all going through this journey. But God can tell, you might never have to have any opportunity to stay in the same room like this for long again. So I want to ensure that you are not just only going to have a simple and perfect experience going through this journey and being in the same space with me, but you're going to have, something that is indelible, something that is going to outlive the time through which you're going to navigate through your journeys. So that's what this centricity is all about. Is becoming the pivot, is becoming the central focus of how you govern your life and how you relate or interact. And for me, it becomes a key priority, it becomes a major priority. So you will see that there is so many things that is within the dynamics of customer centricity. There are a whole lot of things. And I will tell you for free that it goes deep in how much you can explore emotional intelligence. Because when you're talking about people, it's more about relationship. I mean, the customers are not inanimate things. Customers are human beings. So we are looking at human relationship and how you're going to leverage on that to be able to achieve huge success. So emotional intelligence as one of your skills will come to play, and everything around that dynamics is going to come to play. So we'll look at how customer can necessarily be a king in your decision-making process, and why customer first mindset must become part of what you're going to put within your docket of growth strategies. If you are looking at the benefits, why this centricity is going to drive processes within your life and your professional pursuits, is singularly because if you're oriented towards attaining profits in business, and not just immediate profit, a long-term profit, what will drive that on a consistent basis is when you prioritize customer satisfaction. In fact, I'll give you a very good example. In my businesses, I was sharing with a friend some time ago. It was pretty much into the midterm that I started thinking about brand identity, building my image, blah, 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 and all of that. I mean, I wasn't so given to all that. I didn't have any business cards, no websites, no logo. I mean, all of these things were my first priority. My priority was just like, had one, two, three, yeah, just basically about two or three customers, main clientele at the outset. And I was going to do everything possible to ensure that I retain them and I satisfy them on a consistent basis. And that was exactly my priority. And through that, I was able to get enough references till date from the same set of people. So when you're talking about a long-term profitability is embedded in long-term relationship, how much you're able to keep relationship for a long term. And this is exactly what customer centricity is all about, right? So you don't want to be like, you don't want to live like a life that, you don't give a damn to people. Whatever it is that exudes from your actions, whatever it is that you say, whatever it is that you package as a product and give to people, whether they're satisfied or not, you don't want to be like that person that will not care enough to know how they feel interacting with you or relating with your product. So that is one of the reasons why you need to give this a thought. Then, of course, because we live in a competitive world, howbeit we are not in competition with anybody. Your business in the marketplace, within the business environment where you're going to be operating as a startup or even as an existing business venture, is going to face a number of competitions. Competition will be necessitated by continuous improvement, changes, need for adaptation, within the business environment. So how do you manage this? How do you remain competitive? How do you remain relevant? That's what I mean by being competitive. How do you remain relevant, delivering value on a continuous basis? You can leverage on customer centricity, because before anything happens in the market, if you have good customer relations, right, relationship, these are the people that will have given indication. Some of the things that your ears can receive within the market, these are people that will give you indication. And even places where you don't have presence that you won't be able to go, your product, the experience that people are going to have with you, they will be able to take over across there. For instance, I mean, based on what some of you have given back, if you are even going to end the process here, I think to some extent we have actually achieved part of our goals, as it were. But of course, we don't want to just stop here because we have a bigger picture of what we want to achieve, which is your total transformation. But hey, this is what I'm saying, talking about competitive advantage. People who would take this and run over, to Abidjan, to New York in the United States, to Ghana, to Namibia, I mean, to every part of the world with this experience, right, will give indication of whatever area of life and dimensions of life they are exhibiting, the influence and the impact that whatever it is that you received from this contact is having on you. So this is exactly what I mean by this centricity driving competition within the business environment and generally in life. Then you also have, the way you build trust. Remember, I told you trust is not given, trust is earned. How do you earn trust from people? When you think more about the people than before you think about yourself, right? You are people driven and not self driven. Nobody's saying that you should not take care of yourself, but the law of reciprocity says that whatever you want people to do to you is what you do to them. So it's more of you doing first or giving first in order for you to be able to receive in equal measure or much more, right? So trust is going to be earned the more you think about how you want to ensure satisfaction in every interaction and relationship we have with people, how you engage people, either through conversation, or meaningful communication, or the way you release your product. There are many people that your product will that will come across your product and may never have to meet you in life. I mean, technology is driving this so much. You see some of the things you post on social media, how those content are impacting people and they are getting feedback from them, right? And how much they can place some kind of trust in you because you have earned the trust through the kind of impacts you have had on their life. So this is exactly what customer centricity is all about, and you need to give it a thought because it's another level of you leveraging an opportunity in life. Okay, in order for you to get more results or better results or greater results. Okay, so what are the principles undergirding customer centricity? Okay, because you need to know what and what you need to embrace as customer centricity entails before we look at the different steps that you will take in building this way of engagement, this way of doing business. The first one has to do with understanding of needs. Human needs, according to the father of economics, Adam Smith, he said human needs are unlimited, whereas resources are limited. Okay, human needs are unending. They keep changing with changing tides of time. Okay, what you think some people need yesterday, today waking up because of some influences or some factors, both internal and external, would have positively or negatively influenced their priority. So one of the things you need to do is to understand at every point in time what the needs of people are. So it's not just enough for you to say, oh, I have a wonderful product and I just want to push out there, or I have words to say, let me just push and talk about it. I remember it was, I think maybe after a few days, is it Hutzman or I can't remember who specifically was recommending or making suggestion that maybe we need to expand this to more people and all of that. And I said, no, I mean, I'd rather keep this thing simple, let it have within these small groups, manageable groups, and then specifically for those that really need this thing. So generally, everything you think you have that is going to be value and benefit for people is not meant for everybody. Just look at it from this perspective that no individual person can solve all the problems in this world, okay? Because the problems are too many, myriads of problems. In fact, the more you are even solving problems, the more new problems are emerging. That's why I told you, inherent in every problem are inherent in every solution you're profiling to problems are problems itself. So the best solution is the one that has the least potential problems that is going to emerge. or that is going to surface by the time you begin to implement a solution. So you need to understand the needs of people so that you're not complicating their problems and their woes. Okay. And you can easily go about these needs, understanding of the needs by using data analysis. Okay. You can use data analysis. You see, the reason why I'm asking about these feedback questions every now and then is for me to be able to gather some data, be able to gather some perspective, know certain pain point areas, determine your expectations, know what is working, what is not working, if there are new approach that one can do in order to be able to focus more on how you are going to get impact. This is what customer centricity is all about, right? And I always need to see from your own standpoint of view. And the more people you have clustered within a marketplace or within your confine of engagement, the more complex the understanding of the needs will be. Imagine, as you are here, about 6 of you, if I'm to understand the need of each person. Now imagine if you have 2,000 people, if you have 100,000 people, if you have 200,000 people, you have 200 million people, you have 8 billion people in the entire world. That is the scale of complexity. And that is why we talked about the VUCA. The level at which complexity is increasing on a daily basis is also impacting the understanding of needs. Okay. So you need to understand that, and you keep looking from the kind of framework, the approach, the tools, the techniques that you can use to measure people's needs and continually analyze it so that you can be at a good vantage point where you can be able to address those needs. That's what customer centricity is all about. Then the second one talks about personalization. It's not just enough for you to say you want to communicate with people, with customers, with end users. You don't just want to engage with people. You need to know exactly the best way to present either your solution, your product, your benefits, the value they need to deliver. I mean, they need to derive from your engagement or your communication with them. You need to understand how to best deliver that. Sometimes, in personalization, you can do some form of generalization. You personalize maybe in groups or you personalize in individualism. Individualism requires more effort, requires more detailed. Just imagine the communication I do send to everyone on a daily basis, in terms of giving you updates on the previous session, blah, blah, blah. If I'm to be personalizing that for 100 people, that means I will need some tools, I will need some technologies, probably engage an AI, which will automate that kind of communication, right? So that's one level of personalization. The other one is what I simply do, which is more like a quick win, doesn't necessarily incur more cost and all of that. And that's just to put all of you within a group and assume that you are all mentees and all of that. Guess what? If you do that in some marketplace, in some industry, there are some people that you will find resistance. I mean, they're going to push some resistance to because they don't want to fall within the category of groupings. Okay, they don't want to be categorized in groups. They want to be recognized and dealt with as an individual, right? So sometimes you want to personalize, like the way all these brand premium products normally do. You want to buy Rolls Royce, you can personalize your Rolls Royce. You want to buy Tesla truck, you can personalize, or you want to even buy Apple products, you can go to their website and configure it. Okay, so you have this kind of self-configuration of products. Okay, you can give the customers that opportunity for them to determine how they want to be treated. That's what personalization means. So you give them the preference of their choices, and then you integrate that into your deliveries, into how you allow them to take benefit. So these are part of the principles that you take, and you can utilize this in every area of your life, all dimensions. You can actually, approach engagement and approach the way you deliver value to people from this. Then you also talk about, establishing processes that give people seamless experience. And that comes on a consistent basis, okay? Because you're not going to stay out of touch with reality on a consistent basis. You have monitors, you have a SCADA, you have a system put in place, that consistently measure. We're still going to see how to measure success, using this model centricity, this customer centricity. You have things that have been put in place, either automated or you facilitate yourself, you have this monitor put in place that consistently, engage, track, monitor, and control the performance of how people are experiencing the engagement with your product. Okay. Sometimes it might just be that you doing a quick review on yourself. You spend a day, you treat back, you're planning for the next day, and you just quickly look at some feedbacks that people have given you, and you're like, okay, so you need to have maybe someone had given you feedback that, oh, why are you using this kind of perfume? You need to use another kind of perfume. As simple as that. So that you can have, a better outlook, or someone has given you, generally feedback that is not going to violate your value system, is not going to wrongly or negatively influence your core beliefs. Okay, because these are very, very important. And that's why we've built all these things that are key foundations. So you don't allow customers to wrongly influence you simply because you want to give them seamless experience. You are still owning your skills in maintaining your core beliefs and your value system. They are never going to be negotiated. They are non-negotiables, right? At the same time, you have already defined your customer segment, and within that segment, you are now trying to give a seamless experience, because not everybody will be appealed to your brand. Not everybody will approach your brand. Not everybody you can retain within your brand. There are certain people that will tell you, singularly because of this value, we're gonna sit with you. And you don't hold them any apology. Some by nature they are just unrighteous. Some are gifted with lying. Some are gifted with distrust, dishonesty, lack of integrity. How are you going to satisfy such people? How are you going to give them the kind of experience you would naturally want to give? That aligns with righteousness, that aligns with trust, that aligns with honesty, that aligns with integrity. So you need to define the kind of customer we're talking about here. So it's not just a general populace. It's not just a general people you find in the market. Whereas several people go to the market for different reasons. Those ones that you're attracting into your segments, into your mold, are those people that aligns with your corporate value, your personal core beliefs, and all these other stuff that we've laid as foundation. Then you also have the proactiveness that you put in place in your the entire centricity process. One of the challenges I have with people when I see the way they dispose themselves in business has to do with the sluggishness. Okay, has to do with the lack of sensitivity in taking action. They are never been proactive. They don't, you always have to nudge them. You always have to and you keep imagining that, is it that these people are forgetful? Or is it that they are not observant? Is it that they are not following proceedings and all of that? When you are going through several tortures in life, you need to be very careful, because chances are that some of these things can wrongly influence you and make you to become docile. You become inactive when you're supposed to be proactive. We're not even just talking about you just being active, right? You being active would have been a little bit acceptable, where you are expected to be proactive and then you are now inactive. Is totally going to be unacceptable. So the level of promptness, the level of alertness, of which is even a soft skill on its own, alertness, level of constant preparedness that is required, you having that intuition to always anticipate challenges, to always anticipate problems, and you have a foresight in providing solution way ahead of time, is one of the key skills or essential value that you need to embrace, which this principle also projects. So this you bring to bear. And of course, we have, your disposition to continuous improvement. So if at all you don't think that customers' feedback matters, customer centricity is telling you that that's one of the ways by which this approach can work. You must always develop that system, integrate it within yourself, that you don't leave people. Imagine the way we have been having conversation, and on a daily basis, I'm not getting the feedback from you. There's no way we can have continuous improvement. And if you as a customer also, in engaging with people, if you don't give your feedbacks, you don't necessarily have to wait until when you are being asked, right? But for mutual benefits, for mutual improvements on deliverables, you need to always, as a customer, because every human being is a customer to someone else's goals, whether you like it or not. And you can be that at a multiple fronts in different dimensions of life. We all have different products we patronize in life. So technically, you are a customer to whoever is a product owner, okay, or the startup owner. And the same thing, whatever it is that you two are also showcasing and delivering in the marketplace, or as you engage with people, your knowledge base, whatever it is that you do as your daily endeavor, in pursuit of your goals and life purpose, you also have a customer base. So how you ensure that you get feedback from them is also one of the key things that this principle established. So let's look at some of these. I've talked about the benefits, so I'm not going to repeat some of these things. So let's talk about the steps that we need to take in order for us to be able to implement or execute uh, this approach. The first one is you need to do customer mapping. It's very important that you identify who your customers are. Know your customer. I mean, you see business owners from time to time, sometimes every 3 months, sometimes every 6 months, once they are trying to update their database or they are trying to review, or sometimes it might just be within the fiscal year or at the end of the fiscal year. They just want to know more about your customers. So you see they will ask customers to do some feedback forms or refill KYC documents and all of that. This is because human being change. Like I mentioned to you the other time, that our needs keep growing and keep changing from time to time as change itself is being revealed in life. So you need to continually collect data, okay, from your customers to know and be able to map whatever it is that they need. Okay, so that's what customer mapping talks about. You know their pain points, you know their strengths, their weaknesses, from things that has to do with their perspective. And then there are different tools, there are different techniques, there are AI technology that can help you do that. As simple as survey tools, you can easily be able to analyze data using survey tools or questionnaire tools. Then the second step, once you've collected all this information, you identify, you collect the data. The next thing is for you to now analyze the data. You need to analyze the information. You don't just collect a feedback and drop it in your repository without doing anything with it. You need to analyze it. Okay. You need to ensure that you convert it into relatable data, usable data. You don't just keep it as a raw data. Make sure you put it into what you can easily use to make informed decision. And that's now take us to the third step, which is for you to empower, your support groups. In some cases, in your business, you call them your employees, okay, or you call them partners, collaborators, your co-travelers, whatever it is. You have to empower them in order for them, because these are people that are working together with you to be able to deliver those values. They are part of people that you are keeping within your close group in order for you to be able to communicate effectively, to be able to impact them positively. So you need to empower them for them to understand priority. Okay, sometimes you might just create, a quick structure, a schedule that explains the priority, order of priority, scales of preference for actions to be taken. So you communicate this effectively to your team. Okay, then the next thing is for you to now select the right technology that you're going to use for implementation. This is very, very important. Many people have stopped in stage 3 or step 3 singularly because they were unable, or they see the gigantic responsibility required for you to be able to deploy or implement this, in your business or in your endeavor. So AI tools, you have a lot of technology-based, tools, using customer relations management systems. You have a lot of them. Some are even integrated now into our automated mailing systems, from mail providers. You see Zoho, you see Google, you see, even the ones that are on Outlook, you see some of these tools that are already, when you're talking about personalization, for instance, you can, or even determining the order or priority of communication, high importance, not importance, or just important. All of these things have been integrated. So you need to know how to make use of these things. So I would say at this point, you need to learn and you need to search, you need to make research, you need to find out to know which one will be suitable to your processes, will be suitable to your life. um, High for one, because I love exploration. When I see new technology out there, I want to just try it out. I want to download the app. I want to visit and possibly use their free version, first of all, and see whether I need to change the one I'm currently using. So I ended up having several emails. I have emails in most of the major providers, Zoho, I have Google, I have, I mean, just to mention them across different bands and width. I have different email accounts and I'm exploring those service providers, tools, and what they've got to offer, and then stick to the best one that will give me a seamless delivery and also enable my team to be able to leverage on those opportunities. And guess what? It's not everything that is even paid for. So it's the extent to which you search that you're going to discover. Okay. And the final step is now for you to, I mean, at this point in time, you're already interacting and delivering those values. So at this point in time, you want to measure to know how far this is actually impacting lives, how far your customers are enjoying your service, they are relating with your product, what is coming out of your interaction with them, what level of impact they are. So you have different metrics, you have different criteria, you have different tools and techniques you can use. But for the sake of this session, I've just narrowed it down to about 3 or 4, but let's see if I'll be able to touch on all of them. So we have the NPS. NPS stand for Net Promoter Score. I'm sure this is very, very easy. I mean, you must have even been seeing it in most of the feedback forms that usually, I mean, you must have been filling for some product and all of that. Then you have the common one, which is the customer satisfaction metrics, So this one you see they have this one is non-empirical. This is more like engaging with reality. Okay, you have a phrase that determines the level of your experience, whether you are happy, you are not happy, you are satisfied, you are not satisfied, you are very satisfied. Those are the customer satisfaction levels matrix. Then you now have the marginal retention rate, MRR. So all of these things are giving you projection on the kind of experience people have had interacting with you or with your product or with whatever systems you have put in place in order for you to be able to achieve your goal. So these are examples of the metrics. You see the net promoter measures in 3 ways, starting from the detractors, then to the passives and promoters. Most times you want to keep the promoters as your major customers, because the detractors, you can barely satisfy them, okay, because they will keep coming with their pessimism. So if you are going to, for instance, a company that has been navigating through challenges with dealing with customer relations and now wants to rebrand, or they want to upgrade or something like that, they would rather prioritize, feedbacks from promoters so that they can now increase their promoter base rather than just focusing on detractors, which will now become a major distraction to their transformation program. So these are some of the things that will enable informed decisions. Then you have the customer matrix, which I mentioned to you about. So you have different levels depending on what you're trying to measure. Okay, you want to measure satisfaction according to happiness level, or according to satisfaction level, or according to, I mean, just determine the mood by which you want people to have had those experiences. So you have grades across that, you scale it across that. Then you now have some of these tools by which you can use. You can use online tools. Some of these NPS are online based. Some you have them as offline tools. I mean, I've used some calculators on Excel sheets to establish this. So you can get some templates that will give you NPS that you can tailor into whatever it is that you want to collect as feedback from your customers. Or you can just use a simple survey. You see, Google Form can do some of these things, and you have several types of other survey templates online. So you can use some of these things in order for you to be able to do all these analysis and achieve your goals. Okay, before I round up, I need to show you the dynamics, how important feedback is. Remember when we dealt with communication, effective communication, I told you communication is not 100% until when you have received the feedback. When the sender have sent a message, this is a process of effective communication. The sender sent a message, the message goes out there through whatever platform or channels or medium, right? And then the receiver receives the message, process it, digest it, understand it. Sometimes it doesn't even understand it, but necessarily give a feedback. So the feedback will explain the kind of experience, that kind of engagement process had on the receiver for you to have mutual benefits. Okay. So this is how important feedback is. If there is no feedback, there is no point by which you want to scale or define your customer centricity. So at the bottom or at the foundation of customer centricity is where you'll find the importance of feedback. And then this feedback can then be able to use in order for you to process the way by which you want to continue to improve on the value and the benefit people derive from engaging with you or utilizing your products. I'm saying all of this because for those of you that are going to start pursuing your startups, this is a mindset you must have at the back of your mind. As much as you want to make profits, as much as you want to ensure that you break even pretty much early, across your terms, your financial plan terms, make sure that customer centricity is what is going to drive your decision, your plan. Okay. So if this is not in place, make sure you revisit your plan and look at how your customer centricity is going to be at the forefront of helping you to make informed decision. So to get feedbacks on a continuous basis, again, you can leverage on technology, you can use your social media networks, you can use your public relation system where you conduct interviews. Some will even have an opinion poll on a newspaper if you have your customers who are readily on mass media. I mean, all you can just ingeniously think outside the box and look at where your customer segments are positioned and then find what you can do to be able to communicate and give yourself a presence within that community where they are positioned. If they are largely positioned in the mass media, make sure you are there at all costs. If they are largely positioned on social media, make sure you are there at all costs. So anywhere they are, you can always be there. And when you are in the same community or in the same space with them, you can always get. In fact, it might just be a question you are going to throw out there to instigate conversation. And from that conversation, you can make a lot of inferences and get direct or indirect feedbacks, which you can process, review, and then be able to use to refine and continually define the way you deliver value to them. Okay, in conclusion, we are talking about relationship between yourself and your customers, yourself and other people that you are relating with or engaging for impact and for fulfillment of your goals or for your purpose, right? How you manage the relationship by building trust, by building the rapport. First of all, make sure that you make everybody feel at home. I mean, imagine when you have opportunity. I've been an Apple user for a long time. So when I have opportunity to travel and I see Apple Center anywhere, I always go there, even if it's just going to be to go and have a sightseeing. And I've never been disappointed. I've never been disappointed because the customer experience you have, I mean, is just a class of excellence. So those are the kind of things you need to build for yourself. And it starts from personal, the way you brand yourself. It starts from personal branding. When someone comes into your space, what kind of experience are they going to have? Just think about it. Will that experience be formidable enough? Will it be strong enough? Will it be convincing enough for you to retain that relationship and you have an experience of continuity? Just think about it. Like I mentioned to someone recently, that if you have opportunity to stay in the same room, just think about the person that you admire most in life in terms of you trying to model your life achievement and your life success towards. I mean, in business, it might be Elon Musk, it might be Warren Buffett, it might be Bill Gates. I mean, any of those people. Imagine if you have an opportunity to stay in the same room for just 10 minutes with such a person. What kind of question are you going to ask? What kind of question are you going to ask? I mean, people will say a whole lot of things. Oh, how did you make your money? Oh, how did it? Oh, how did it? Don't forget to 10 minutes. 10 minutes. At that point in time, emotional intelligence is actually what you need. It's not going to be much of what you're going to say or much you're not going to say. Rather, you want to even give apt attention to active listening. Don't do any talking. Let them be the ones. Because when they, I mean, these are people who have scaled through a whole lot, and people at that stage in their career or in their business pursuit have actually grown through the ladder and are operating. I mean, you can do a research and find out, conduct survey over their lives, Fortune 500 CEOs and successful CEOs who are building empires, across timelines. When you get to do empirical analysis of their EQ, you see that they operate not less than between 80 to 90% EQ. So such a person, and if you're coming with a low EQ, you don't want to be the one that will be the talkative because you don't stand a chance to spend more than 5 to 10 minutes with them. So, I mean, you just like, oh, I'm all here, here's here, whatever it is that you want to do to give us a cancer. And just maybe one or two sentences is what they will say that will transform your life entirely. So this is what it means to build a relationship. And such people are so sensitive to the fact that right there, they can give an handshake that will give you undue access, untold access, irretrievable access to them for life. So you have to ensure that you govern your life largely from this point onward with high EQ. Begin to build upon yourself on how you're going to have high EQ because it's going to work out tremendous things for you. Very, very important. It works out magic. Trust me. It does have magic. Sometimes what you're looking for in analyzing data might be just an information that someone will give you all of a sudden. And when you see carry on your data analysis, you find out to be that what you have received is true. So what you're doing on your data analysis is just a confirmation. I mean, as simple as that. So life is not too entangled that only when you don't know the process, you don't know what to do and how to leverage on these skills, then you can continue to get entangled with the complexity, of your ambitions. So this is how it is. And for me, I always like empowering people because you can't know it all, right? We know in part, we learn in part, we see in part. So leveraging on partnership, leveraging on collaboration, building other people, because there are some people that what you think you've learned in 5 years, when they are properly given access and given opportunity, they can learn in 2 days, right? They can learn in 2 days, and there are many reasons to support that kind of acceleration, that kind of velocity, right? Some people just have magnetic brain. Some people have, I mean, it's just so supernatural. It's just so enigmatic in trying to decipher how that come about. Some things that you have struggled with and you eventually get to win, right? And it maybe took you a journey of 5 years. Just, simply introduce to someone, and in just few days or few weeks or few months, they've gotten all over it. You're just like, wow. Sometimes when I train people on some certification exams that failed, and just at one sitting, they come back and tell me that, oh, they passed. And I even see them as on serious. I was like, come, how did you do it? So that's the reason why you need to give in more to empowering people. Is a subtle secret to success and leveraging on customer centricity. There are some people that naturally you will not have the chance to be able to relate with them. But because you have impacted and empower other people who will have access to such people, it will be that you are indirectly getting a feedback from those people. So these are part of things that I believe you can leverage on for your success. I'm going to stop here so that I can take feedback from us and see whether some of these principles align with what you think you're doing on your journey, or if there are any area I need to further elaborate for you to be able to grab the full understanding of customer centricity, because customer is king, and at the center of anything that you want to drive has to be the focus on how you are positively and meaningfully on a consistent and continuous basis impacting people. Okay, so we're going to stop here. And I open the floor for comment, contribution. Thank you. So uh, let's give a feedback. Let's talk. Balali, see you, you're keen. Comfort, Utsman, Favor, Dr. Shade, Chris. Let me hear your perspective about this principle.
Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Clearly, please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you for the session. Um, Personally, I've always loved like walking into a store or anything that I need to gain a service or something and be treated well. It it's usually an experience that makes you valued. So I've always told people around me that I love excellence, although I don't know what to define excellence as. There was a point I was seeking out materials to read and understand what excellence is, because I said to myself, if you feel if you feel it's something important to you, then you should just learn about it and make other people feel that way. So I read there's this book, The Power of Positive Thinking, and that was where the authors quoted someone and said, the person was a military man. He said, excellence is when you make other people feel like human beings, just feel valued, feel like they matter. Everybody, not just people that you maybe accord some level of respect and regard. And since then I've borne that in my heart. But with what you're teaching us, there's no way you're going to make another person feel appreciated if you don't even understand what you're able to offer or who you are in terms of self-awareness and all of that. And then bringing in emotional intelligence into it, being able to handle people with different ideas, emotions, cultures, also would make anyone feel they've received something excellent from you. And I think that's what being customer centric is all about, both for you personally and also if you have a company, how do you want to make people feel? It all stems from how you feel about yourself. That's what you're able to mirror to those that are your destiny helpers and those that you you want to reach out to by your business or even in the office space. Someone said, we're all business people. So even if you're working for someone, your boss is your customer because you're making use of your time. So even in your office, that's what I want to say.
Thank you so much for echoing these thoughts. And this is just exactly what I've said, taking you through what customer centricity is all about, the benefits, the principles, and of course, the steps you need to take. So trust me, customer remains the king, remains the main focus of your endeavor. And you are going to meet them in shape, shades, and form. I mean, they will come from all angles. You see some nasty customers, you're going to see who will even want to claim rights that, yes, we are the king, when someone is that kind of arrogant. And you just need to respect that disposition. And one thing I've learned across my journey is the fact that when someone doesn't know who he or she is, usually they put up arrogance. I mean, it's just like someone who is being foolish and now being proud of his foolishness, displaying, at the highest order is foolishness. So you know that definitely this is not just ordinary being foolish, it's just a weakness. So how then do you treat the person in order for the person to still be able to have good experience? Is what emotional intelligence is all about. So that you don't end up giving your brand a terrible image, kind of, because some customer will just provoke you. It will come with that, annoying provocation because of their foolishness, because of their bad disposition. So all of these things are tied together with, because at that kind of level of conversation that you need to have with yourself, with your team, with your support group, with your employees, I mean, even when you understand, you won't always be at the receiving end at all times. Usually, when you have teams of people that are working with you along this journey, you need to also create that mindset in them and let them know. Like they say, humility is always the best answer for a fool. When someone is being foolish, the best way you can respond is for you to humble yourself, so that, and humility says you have to restrain, you have to constrain, you have to control yourself, even when you are in the right position to do certain things that will eventually violate the humanity of the other person. You restrain and control yourself. This is part of what customer centricity is all about. So I mean, it's all encompassing and is all fulfilling at the same time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other contribution? Any other comment? Or have a different perspective to this based on your experiences? We are all dealing with customers here. So I want to hear your perspective. And I want to know whether this is how you have been going about your endeavors. And some of us, I don't want to mention name, I know you very well. I mean, you deal with a lot of customers. So I want you to share your opinions about this principle, if this has been how you have been navigating, taking steps, or you think this is going to work for you to be able to deliver greater value and achieve greater success. Yeah, doctor, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just, this session was really good. And just to make a couple of comments just based off of my own experience when I have my patients or clients, they're customers and that they're paying for a service. And in my line of work, they're paying um, to understand themselves better. They're paying for, a certain environment and certain wisdom to be imparted on them and help just figuring out problems. And so, it's always interesting when I first have a consultation with a client, and oftentimes people will research you online and you know where your name comes from and all this kind of stuff, and so they'll come already with preconceived notions. And um, it's it's important. So what I usually do is have my clients fill out surveys and things like that before they come. When they make the session, there's usually a brief summary of what the issue is. And so after reviewing their preliminary surveys and they come, I kind of have an idea. And there's usually I know you spoke against this, there's usually a generic thing that you can say, and that speaks more to, this is what we do here in this establishment, this is what we're about. And then it moves into, this is what I'm about, and this is what I hear that you're struggling with. Can you tell me more? And it gets into more about, this works because of how you and I flow together. And if at any point you don't feel comfortable, or it gets into this conversation where I tell them, like, I'm helping you bring forth what you already have and what you already and who you are. I don't put anything in you, I don't fix you or any of those type of things. And so it's a, like how you speak about the feedback loop and effective communication, this doesn't work unless you know we've both created a space that we can flow in. And so just want to, make that comment that this customer centric approach really um, reaches across many disciplines, and we'll call it in my field a patient centered approach. And so yeah, or and sometimes the method of treatment could be like, brief solution focused, depending on what they're coming for. But yeah.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you for this. Again, consolidating on the fact that this is very important and it cuts across all disciplines, all endeavors. Uh, we deal and interact with people on a daily basis, and we need to ensure that we know how to handle them, because everybody that come across us will leave a stench of an experience with them, either good or bad. So it takes some level of intentionality for us to be able to leave good impression on people. or good experiences with people. Sometimes I just be what they'll perceive through you. I mean, like, okay, I think it was yesterday or somewhere yesterday, and someone just maybe that's why the thing kept coming to my mind. Because I can't remember the last time someone gave me that kind of feedback, like, "Oh, I like your perfume," this and that. When he said it, I was like, "Okay." I mean, it's been a very long time. I've heard someone. I mean, out of everything worrying me, is that my perfume? That's all is just so fascinated about. So I mean, so this is just how how simple and how interesting, engaging people can just be. So just make sure you're intentional about your outlook, you're intentional about the way you address, approach people, what you say, even to the point of what you wear. I mean, it cuts across every aspect of your disposition. I mean, I've seen people get thrown off, just because of some things some people wear. And I mean, some people just wonder, I mean, how does my dressing affect you, blah, blah, blah. It does. And that's just the honest truth. It does. When you're looking at the way we say analyzing your customers' need, understanding your customers' need, their perception, their perspective, their view, all of these things, as long as your data that you derive from this analysis or identification is not going to violate, don't forget, your core beliefs, your your value system. Very, very important. As long as these things are not going to be violated, I mean, you need to take cognizance of whatever feedback that you're being given, because it will determine your velocity in terms of your growth. It's going to determine the acceleration of your success, and how far you're going to go even on the journey. Some people have lost opportunities similarly because of all these intangible things, as simple as, oh, he didn't greet me well. I mean, it can just be as funny as that, or he didn't speak well. Even I personally have, I mean, taking some of these impressions, going into one store, maybe you enter into a confectionery store, and the waiter or whoever is the attendant, just talk anyhow, or just maltreated you, or didn't attend to you well, and all of, you took away that impression. Unfortunately, maybe next time the person comes to your table and wants to be interviewed for a job. So this is how important, managing customers' relationship, using this customer centricity in governing your behavior and how you make decisions are quite important. And lastly, for me, in case if anybody still has anything to say, you need to ensure that um, you don't politicize your communication, your message, so to speak. You don't, I'm looking for the right word to use to kind of like envelope my thoughts. It's like, don't have this script that you are always reading each time you are meeting people and you are saying, I mean, you are communicating with people. Yeah, businesses will have their scripted vision, but they should never have scripted messages that you need to constantly communicate to customers, because there are some customers that you need to tailor certain aspect of your vision and mission in a different way. And thankfully, I mean, we have AI now, so you can say one statement in several ways. So there is no one way that you can deliver a particular message. You can deliver it in several ways, several other alternatives. They call it alternatives. So you need to understand the person. And like I always believe that, give the truth to him that loves it not. They make and do more harm to truth than not. So there's a way, it's still truth, though. It's not like it's not truth, but you give it a different shade, you give it a different form without losing the meaning of truth. So that's what I mean by not having a scripted way of presenting truth. It can be presented to different people in different ways, and yet it still remains truth. Because the importance of it is for them to be able to accept the truth and have good experience on truth. Okay. Um, that's going to be the end of the class. But last time, does anybody has anything you want to share or question, so that we just end here? Have any question, any jamming points you want to make? Okay, so
I
let's close. Okay, yeah, Bolani.
Good evening. I'm sorry I'm reacting very late.
No problem.
Everything you said was actually spot on, and the contributions were also great. I mean, I think one thing that was re-emphasized tonight is so sometimes when we're even dealing with customers and okay, so I'll use my scenario as an example. I work in a fintech where customers take a loan and the interest is actually like maybe a lot, but the way the product is packaged and the process of communicating it to the customer, it shifts the customer's gaze or focus from that huge interest you're repaying, and you're just seeing the value for for the offer we're offering to you, like, oh, like this timely offer that I'm giving to you now to meet up to the expectation, a bit to the requirement or the purpose of that funds at the moment, and then the old swift, oh, in 5 hours you're going to get this disbursed, oh, I understand this is very timely and everything, like the how do I say now, so even in a scenario where the whole thing is not 100% favorable for the customer, but the fact that at that point of delivering that service to them, they feel valued, they feel like I also understand their pain or the purpose of that timely intervention. So it helps, and during all the process, when later on you're not getting tired, I'm just like, okay, you can then liquidate early, but liquidate so you don't pay the total accrued interest. And they're like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. And this. So it's a very good thing when you're focused on your customers' needs in offering products and services to them, and also getting feedback, like you said, to better suit the products to meet their evolving needs. So thank you.
Thank you. And please don't forget, it's not just only about work. Even in your daily personal lives, you need to exemplify the same thing. As you engage with people, as you meet people on a daily basis, you need to know exactly what kind of experience you are giving them, because that will go a long way. You never can tell the person. I mean, it might just be in a bus, in a metro rail. You sit together, the way you interact, ask questions, help solve problem, talk about. I mean, whatever it is, that leaves a lasting impact. Okay, it leaves a lasting impact, and who knows? That might be your next business partner. That might be the next person that will open the door of opportunity for you. So you see everybody from that perspective as a potential customer that you need to treat well and give good experience. And that will turn around to be a good fortune and be, your leverage in achieving success and accomplishing your goals. Okay, thank you. We'll stop here and then we'll meet again. So today there won't be any assignments I would give you today for you to be able to go over all the previous assignments. If you are still having anyone outstanding, make sure you do and submit. So no assignment today. Okay, take care. Have a blessed evening. Bye.
Bye. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.